everyone. Welcome to the OnlyLandFans show. My name is Kendall Lejeune, and our guest today is Alicia Jarrett. Alicia is an international real estate investor, educator, and entrepreneur. She is a passionate and driven global real estate investor based out of Australia, conducting deals in the USA. She co-owns multiple businesses, including Global Citizens Holdings, Inc., Landscouts and Supercharged Offers. Focused on leadership in business and investing in land, her business ventures provide efficient real estate marketing and world-class data solutions, which assists other real estate investors to digitally transform their business for increased results. Alicia is also an experienced leadership, executive coach, and business management specialist. Alicia, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Oh, Kendall, it's every time I hear that introduction, I'm like, is that me?
That's you.
I'm just a normal person, right?
I love it. I love it.
I'm great, Kendall. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm loving to see Jeff is actually one of those people that is the recipient of some of those things you've just mentioned. So great to see one of my customers on here. And Brad also I've done a lot of collaborating with, which is awesome. So thanks for having me on, Kendall. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. I have to tell you, so for those of you who are just kind of tuning in, so Alicia and I actually met like just a couple of weeks ago virtually. And I was blown away. I had a fantastic call with her. And then I was like, I have to have AJ on our OnlyLandFans show. And so once I got her bio, I was even more blown away because I have to tell you, I am such a nerd when it comes to like the leadership and the mindset piece of it, building teams. So I'm so excited to be able to chat with you about that. So let's just get started with your background. Can you tell us how you got started in doing land deals?
Yeah, and why I'm doing it from the other side of the world, right? So by the way, for anybody on this call that is struggling to think about doing land in another state, you can do that because I'm doing it from another country. So don't feel like location is ever going to hold you back because it won't. What happens is here. This is the stuff that holds it back, which is our mindset. But how we got started, Kendall, some on this call might know because Steve, I can see, is on the call as well. I think he's familiar with our background. My business partner, Matt, and I, we actually started about 7 years ago doing some fix and flip housing. We were one of these people that we used to watch the HGTV shows, like I'm going to blame Chip and Joanna Gaines here quite a lot. We used to watch their shows and we're like, this house thing, this is awesome. Because we'd done that here in Australia, but the cost of doing a deal here in Australia, just add a couple more zeros on the end. It's crazy. So we started to look into the US and thought, you know what? I think we can make a go at this. So we went over and bought some houses in Florida, fix and flip them, put a team in place. But then, Kendall, as does happen in business, the last house that we did was beyond stressful. Let's just put it that way. It kind of pushed us to the limit. We deviated from our strategy, which is why we shouldn't have done. And the last house we spent about a year on, and we just broke even. And it was lots of stress, a lot more gray hairs coming through. And at that point, we went, maybe single family homes is not for us. Maybe we need to look at a different asset class. And just by doing some research, we came across vacant land. So we've been doing vacant land now for somewhere around 5.5, 6 years. I lose count. Have not looked back. So vacant land where we've got lots of memorable deals that we've done. Like you, I still remember that first deal. And I still remember my first phone call to a seller where I was like, I don't even know what I'm talking about, but let's have a chat. Our land business is going strong. We only focus on Florida, which we haven't. A lot of people ask me, Kendall, as well, like, why aren't you doing other locations? And I can say with absolute gratitude that we haven't had a need to yet. We seem to have found some areas in Florida that people now know us, and we've got buyers lists that are huge, and we just seem to be farming those areas and going really, really well. In amongst all that, Kendall, we started a real estate marketing company as well, purely to help our own business out, and that's now going really strong too. So here we are quite a few years later, and every day I wake up and pinch myself because it's pretty cool.
It's remarkably cool. I love that. I love that story because I connect with so much of it. I got my start in single family houses too, and know exactly how much work that actually is.
Oh, yeah.
The moment that you realize after doing like one land deal that when you realize exactly what the cost, the physical, emotional cost of doing that deal versus what it is to put it into a single family house. I remember the moment, just like you, where I said I'm never going back to single family houses.
No,
Nothing against it.
exactly.
If that's your jam, if that's your jam, that's cool. But land is definitely my lane. So
yeah,
I also love the fact that you talked about going deep into a market. In Florida, you haven't had the necessity to go to other places, and I think that's a fantastic nugget because so many people, myself included, I think when first starting out, we say, okay, well, I want to do all of the things, whereas like if you find something and go deep into it and just make it as much as you possibly can.
Yep.
Like there's tons of gold there. So that's incredible.
There really is. There really is. And can I just talk about that for a second, Kendall? Because I think it's a really important point. Because we also have a real estate marketing company, I get to work with some amazing customers that are doing what we're doing across all these different locations. And I think it's fine. It's absolutely fine to have, a number of locations and states going. But once you find a market that is responding to you, that you're finding deals in, there's two things here with the mindset that I want people to listen out for. One is the element of farming that market, because a lot of people have the mindset of, I've already mailed to that market and I've got my deals, I need to go elsewhere. If you've mailed to that market and you got deals, mail it again, keep mailing it again, because the more that they can get to know you, the more serious they're going to see that you are, the more they'll probably check you out, because if they've seen 4 or 5 pieces of marketing from you and only 1 piece of marketing from other people, then, you're going to be top of mind. But secondary to that is on the exit strategy. In some of our markets, we've now got fantastic relationships with builders, developers, local cash buyers, land bankers, land brokers. So a good 20 or 30% of our properties, Kendall, we don't even advertise. We just send it out to our list and go, hey guys, got another property. And also those boots in on the ground relationships, Kendall, with things like title companies, local surveyors, perk testing, realtor, all of those things. You can maximize those relationships when you really get into an area and keep farming that area. So don't give up, guys. Even if that area hasn't responded, keep going.
Yes to all of that. That is so spot on, because you really are building a brand. And, so often we hear how important marketing is, but I think myself included, when I first got started, I put marketing in the box of marketing just to find deals, but marketing covers the entire life cycle of the deal, on the buy side, on the sell side. And it's just so important to create those relationships, right? And that's what really successful marketing does, is it creates those relationships. So you're kind of leaving money on the table if you just in and out of an area without developing it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about what types of land deals you specialize in Florida?
Yeah, pretty much all types, because wherever there's a deal, there's an exit strategy, right? So we will do anything from an infill lot all the way up to large acreage. And each deal that we look at, we'll decide an exit strategy for it. So if it's an infill lot, depending upon that lot itself, we may purchase that lot. If it's got beautiful road access and it's got great properties around it, the supply and demand in the area is where it should be. If it ticks all the right boxes, we will buy that property so that there's no risk of the seller going elsewhere. For those in the know, we also do deals with Brad on this call. Brad is an amazing private money lender, and he's just put the most loveliest comment in the chat box there. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with a team. Brad's one of my team. That's how I look at him. Thanks, Brad, for that comment. And infill lots we will look at to either buy. If it's not a great infill lot, we will get it under contract, and then we're very transparent with the seller around, hey, we're going to take this off your hands, but we are going to try and find an end user for the property. Up all the way up to acreage, where we're doing some forced appreciation. So we're also part of a group that, thanks, Brad, that really looks at how you extract more value out of a bigger deal. So when I say a bigger deal, and I mean acreage, I think a lot of people automatically go to, oh, you're doing 200 acres, 500 acres. No, it might be a 5-acre property that we're splitting in half. It might be a 1-acre property that we're splitting in half. It might even be a 50-acre property that we're breaking into 5, 10-acre lots. So again, each property we look at is based upon its merits of what the potential exit strategy can be. And I think that's also coming back to marketing, Kendall. I know a lot of people, especially our clients as well, they try and get super hyper targeted. But sometimes, again, we're leaving money on the table because you just don't know who wants to sell, what they want to sell, and when they're ready to sell. And we've gotten deals off people that had an infill lot that had, their brother then had 10 acres that they referred to us and said, you need to speak to my brother as well. So deals are everywhere. So we won't say no to a deal. We've even done commercial lots as well. There's some great exit strategies for commercial property, particularly if you want to sell or finance that and do a deal where people can utilize that property. So different things, Kendall.
I love it. And that's the beautiful thing. One of the many beautiful things about land, in my opinion, is that there are just so many ways to take a deal down, to partner with someone on a deal. There's just way, way, way more ways to sort of skin the cat when you're talking about deals, right?
Yep.
So may I ask, your very first foray into land, what type of deal was that? Was that an infill lot? Was that a large land acreage parcel?
It was an infill lot. It was in Jacksonville, Florida. It was in a suburban area. It was just a nice average family home area. And let me tell you, when we bought it, it was like, oh goodness, have we done the right thing here? But it sold reasonably quick. I mean, this is going back quite a few years ago now. It had an issue with a slope on the property as well, but the person who bought it said, you know what, I know someone that can fill that lot for me and level it out. They got the approvals to do that, and off we went. And so it was really interesting. I reflect back now, and for me, that sounds like such an easy deal. But at the time, it was like, oh, slope, what do we even do with that? Okay, what permits do we need? And then you sort of bring yourself back down to earth and go, well, I don't need them. Only the buyer needs it. So as long as I can go and do the research for them and help make this deal easy, that's my job. So it was a great deal, and the seller walked away super happy, and the buyer was super happy. They ended up building on the lot, and everyone's happy. I think when you can create a deal where everyone wins, it's a good day.
That is 100% the way to do business in my book. When everyone wins and walks away from a deal happy and feeling like they got what they needed or wanted out of the deal, I mean, like that's a best day, right? That's like a win. So obviously you got your start in infill lots. Do you remember that first like big deal that made you kind of gulp a little bit and say, okay, this is not an infill lot. Like, what's going on with this? Can you talk? This one,
I actually posted it. It goes back about 18 months ago now. And I know we've been in land for quite some time, but this deal is quite memorable for a number of reasons. And I posted it in I've got another group called the Land Investing Motivation Mastermind. And I posted it in there 18 months, 2 years ago, somewhere around there. Time has flown by. We bought this property. It was a 13-acre property in the middle of Hillsborough County in Florida. 90% of it was wetlands, but there was enough uplands on the property to be buildable. But the reason why we bought it, and when I say bought it, we didn't get it under contract, we purchased it. We purchased it for $10,000, all in, 13 acres. The reason why we did is we got a survey done on it. There was no protected species in the wetlands. The wetlands could be mitigated. They weren't wet all year round, so there was an opportunity with the land. But also these 13 acres were completely surrounded by new developments, commercial properties, shopping centres, highway, main roads. It was literally in the middle of nowhere, and all of those properties around it, many of those were previously the same type of wetlands that had been mitigated and built on. So again, there's always indicators, and people will often say to me, can we take out wetlands from the data when we're doing marketing? I'm like, why would you? Because sometimes they're buildable. Sometimes they're good to sell to the neighbors. Sometimes people want them for recreation. Like, not all wetlands are bad.
Right.
So this particular property, we ended up holding it for nearly 2 years because it was just a case of finding the right buyer. So we had our realtor working on it, and because we knew what could be done with this property. And the other thing too, it was currently zoned vacant residential, but it also had a future zoning designation of commercial. So you could use it for either. And that's really important too when people are looking at zoning and you're on the phone to the county. Ask this question, folks. Has it got future zoning designated? Because often they're already thinking ahead and they've got a future zoning that's been approved, but they haven't advertised that or it's not on the property yet. So ask about that. So we were able to advertise it as dual zoning. And we ended up getting a buyer who had worked deals like this before in Florida. They knew how to mitigate wetlands. They knew what they wanted to do with the property. They got the plans drawn up. Because we had held the property, we said, look, you've got a couple of months to get the approvals that you need because we want this to work for you. And so all in, including our survey, we were at 13,000, I think. We sold it for 199,000.
Whoa. That
was 2 years worth holding on to it.
That is worth 2 years. My gosh, that's incredible.
And we didn't do anything in those 2 years. We just sat on it. We paid the taxes when that came around, and that was about it.
That is fantastic. Wow. So, I think that at least for a lot of people, there's a little bit of resistance when shifting asset classes. So like maybe if you're going from like an infill lot to a larger land deal, there's a little bit of like hesitation, right? Because you're scaling up, you're leveling up, you're doing a bigger deal. What types of tools or processes did you go through to get your mind around that fear and move forward anyway?
Yeah. That's a really great question because, a lot of the deals that we're doing now, some of them do have extra zeros on the end. And that's the actual thing that I told myself at that point in time is that it's still a piece of land. It's still the same process that we go through. We're still dealing with the seller in the same way. We're still trying to find a buyer in the same way. Nothing changes except for the fact that there might be one or two extra zeros on the end. So if you can just kind of bring it back to that simplicity that the deal is still the same. The processes, the systems, the contracts that you use, everything is still the same. It's just got an extra zero. And at the end of the day, as long as you can make the deal work, that doesn't actually matter anymore. So, but when we did our first big deal outside of that one that I just walked you through, we've done many other deals that are in the hundreds of thousands and none of it was our own money, and we were able to structure them in a way that really worked. And at the end of the day, it's like, it's just a number. If you can make that number work for everyone, it's just a number. So don't let the number overwhelm you because outside of that number, nothing else changes.
Hey, land fans, looking for your tribe of serious land investors? Join thousands of your fellow land lovers in the OnlyLandFans Facebook group. We're talking real deals, expert strategies, and game-changing connections you won't find anywhere else. This isn't just another real estate group. This is the community where land investors come to level up. Join us at OnlyLandFansGroup.com and join the conversation today. That's OnlyLandFansGroup.com. See you there.
That is so good. That's like t-shirt worthy. It's just a number, right?
Just a number.
That's fantastic. So
this whole business is about numbers. It's a numbers game.
Absolutely. So how do you go about raising money for deals whenever you need to do that?
Yeah, private money lender, Brad DeGraw, right on this call. When we do need to raise money, we have had family going on deals with us as well, where we've said, hey, over here in Australia, if you invest your money, there's really nowhere that you're going to get like a 20% return. That's almost unheard of. But we've said to some family members over the years, if you want to invest in this with us, by the time we sell, we'll give you 20% back on your money. And they're like, Heck yeah. So we've done that a few times. We've got Brad involved in deals in a few times. We've had our own money that we've used a few times. And we've also had our CFO. He came in on a number of deals with us because he saw what we were doing and saw the returns. He's in the US and he's like, can you guys do this with me? We said, yeah, sure. So money comes from all directions. And I think sometimes we're afraid to ask for money. That mindset as well. And it comes back to what Brad put in here before around if you want to go far, go with the team. Don't think that you have to use your own money for stuff, people. OPM, other people's money, it is a thing. And it can help you do more deals, do deals faster, and have more security around your deals. Because if it's a winner of a deal and you secure that deal, there's no way that your seller's going to go anywhere else because you can buy it. Absolutely.
I love that. And so whenever you are, with the mindset of money can come from anywhere, you never know where it could come from. It could be, you could find your next investor at a cocktail party or, the theater or something. So what is your favorite answer to the question in a situation like that? If you're out and about and someone asks you a question, it's a stranger, says, what do you do? So what do you do? I'd love to hear that answer.
Oh, it's so hard to, and everyone on this call can probably relate, right? When you're trying to tell somebody who's not in the land biz what we do, they start to glaze over pretty quickly. So I simply say that because now we've got our land business and we've also got Supercharged Offers, our real estate marketing business. I say that we are real estate investors in the US doing off-market deals where we're helping sellers and buyers out to, take the middleman out of being a realtor. And we're also helping other real estate investors through, Omni Channel Marketing to also contact sellers off market and get buyers off market as well. And that often leads to the question where people go, especially if they're not in real estate, they go, what do you mean by off market? And the stats, folks, I don't know if you realize, but there's like up to 30 to, around, I think the last time we looked at this stat, it was just over 30% of properties exchanged in the US are off-market properties. It's a huge business. We all know that. So it kind of leads to that next question. What do you mean by off-market? It's like, well, anything that's a direct to seller, direct to buyer. So that's what I tend to say when people ask me, what do we do?
That's fantastic. It's always interesting, at least to me, to find out like what other people are saying to that question, because you're right. Like if you're not in the land space, what do you like? I only have 3 seconds.
And then you end up down the burrow where what I used to say is, we market to sellers and we try and get their property for pennies on the dollar, and then we find a buyer and we, and you go off into this rant and people will be looking at you like, what? So pair it back to something simple. It's like, we just do off-market deals. We help sellers out. We find buyers. We find end users. That's it.
I love it. I love it. Keep it simple. And if they want to know more, they'll definitely ask more, right?
Yeah.
So you've mentioned marketing a lot. I know that you have a marketing business. I would love for you to tell us a little bit about your marketing company and how that came to be and how did you get started in that?
Yeah. How we got started with it, first of all, was purely for our own self-interest, because we had our land business. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great land educators out there. But their main focus is teaching you how to do a deal. And so it's, they teach you a lot more about how to structure a deal or the paperwork that you need, some other basics. But when it comes to actually building out your business processes and knowing how to do marketing really, really well, a lot of them don't really cover those bases, Kendall. So when we first learned like 6 years ago, our marketing module was as simple as this: go to a county, download a list, send some letters. That was pretty much it. So that's what we did. And then we sit back and we wait for the phone to ring, and that phone starts ringing and we speak to some sellers and we get a few contracts, and then it's like, right, we've got some contracts, go. And we pedal like crazy to get these contracts sold or to, make the deal happen to get our money back. And then we do that and we turned it back to the pipeline and it was totally empty because we'd stopped marketing, because there's only so much time that you've got to go around, right? You're always busy trying to keep the wheels turning. So we sort of early on, with myself and my business partner, Matt, with our backgrounds in business, we were like, surely there's got to be a better way to do this that means that the marketing engine never stops. So we created a system called we didn't actually have a name for it then. We just created a system for ourselves, which is really about Omni Channel Marketing, Kendall. So Omni Channel being forever present wherever your audience is. So it's a whole system that we have now of getting data. We're very big on data in our business, getting the data, sending direct mail consistently, having that always going. Whilst the direct mail is going, we've got websites that are live, social media that's live. We're running ads in between those, and we're retargeting people online. So we've got this whole online and offline marketing engine running 24/7. Like, it's marketing when we're sleeping. It's marketing 6 months after we sent someone a letter and they're still seeing ads online. It's marketing all the time. And the reason for that being the omni-channel is, everyone on this call will realize we're now dealing with sellers that are in their maybe 80s to 90s that will likely respond to direct mail because they're old school and that's what they prefer. We've dealt with people in their 20s that have got, vacant land that they inherited, or maybe they purchased it on a whim, don't want it anymore. They'll basically do everything virtually, and everything in between that. I'm in my late 40s, but I do everything online. You send me a letter, I'm not going to respond. Ad pops up, I'll probably click on it. So we need to make sure that we're marketing in a way that's always keeping that pipeline full of deals. Then we can focus our team on the right things at the right time. And we can make sure that we've always got properties that, where we're out there selling. Because I see it so often in these groups, Kendall, your group, other groups, every group that I'm in, that people just have this start-stop feeling to their business. Like, they get some deals and then nothing happens for a few months, and they get some deals and then nothing happens. So it feels like this roller coaster. So we really created Supercharged Offers to stop the roller coaster and get consistent.
I love that. You said so many things that, as a real estate investor, my light bulb started going off in my head, because I think that, if you've been in this business at least for some time, that roller coaster, and that can be terrifying, because It feels great when you've got business, you got business and you got deals, but whenever you don't, it's a little scary. Right. And so
it is. And especially if I can add to it, can I add one more thing?
Absolutely.
I think people also need to think about the time frame with deals, because there's a lot of educators out there that are like, do deals with no money down, start to make money at month 2. And it's like, it's really not that true. Most of us, if we're doing deals correctly, most of us will start to see a return on investment and our pipeline giving back to us at about the 5 or 6 month mark, because it takes that long to get your pipeline running, to get your sellers under contract, close on those deals if you're buying them, find a buyer, lock that in, get title done, fix any issues, get it to closing. It's about a 5 to 6 month turnaround to get that ROI happening. What we see, though, is people start marketing, and because they haven't got a return on investment at months 2 or 3, they stop. But that's then going to show up in months 6, 7, and 8.
Absolutely.
Because they stop marketing back here. So you've always got to keep that marketing engine going regardless, because once month 5 or 6 starts, then you should, if you're doing things right, you should expect that in month 7, you've got deals to close. Month 8, you've got deals to close. Month 9, 10, and it keeps going. But consistency is what will put these businesses in the ground.
Listen up, land fans. This is huge. We're bringing you the one and only Pace Morby, star of A&E's Triple Digit Flip and the mastermind behind $450 million in real estate deals. He's coming to our virtual meetup on Thursday, December 5th to share how he's applying his creative financing genius to land deals. Head to olfmeetup.com to save your spot today. That's olfmeetup.com. This is the kind of opportunity that changes everything.
Absolutely. That consistency is so important, just because of the life cycle of the deal, but also, as a marketing expert, it takes multiple touches for the same person, for that person to either know, like, and trust you, or be in a position where they are ready to sell. So if they get your marketing, I think a lot of people think, oh gosh, they're going to get my mailer and then they're going to contact me immediately and then we're going to do a deal. And it's just not like that.
Marketing, the average stats for marketing is, 7 to 13 touch points before people convert, which is why we're doing the online presence as well, because if they can see you everywhere, then they're going to get those 7 to 13 touch points.
Absolutely. I love that. And so the great thing about the Omni marketing as I'm listening to this is, if they get your mailer, that's one touch point. If they see your ad, that's a second touch point. If they see you on social media, that's a third touch point. You don't have to send 7 to 13 letters back to back. You can touch them from different points, right?
Correct.
And so I recently heard from a colleague of mine that you did a joint campaign for one of your clients that had mail and TV ads. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that is just brilliant.
There's another touch point. Yeah. So we do all kinds of stuff. In our marketing business now, we've got connections for running YouTube ads, television ads, SMS marketing, cold calling, you name it. You can bolt on these things and really go for it. Television ads was interesting. So we've done this now with 2 customers. One was in single family homes, which worked brilliantly. The other one was in vacant land. So one of our customers, his name's Robin Seib. He's based in Germany. For anyone that has met Robin, he is awesome. He's a good human. Yeah, Brad's got the thumbs up. So Robin's been a customer of ours for a couple of years now. We helped him from the very beginning to where he is now. And he's like, hey, Jay, I really just want to go and dominate my market. And I was like, let's do it. So we put him in touch with one of my connections that helps to create a very specific television ad. That television ad runs to the local stations. So it's not on any major stations, it's local stations. But just think for a second, folks, what's the demographic of people that would watch more like a local TV? Older people.
Older people.
Right?
Yeah.
Older people. And not old, but just older. And probably a lot more, more country folk, that type of thing as well, if we think about a persona. So what we did is we lined up the television ad schedule. So when we knew what ads were being pushed out to what stations and what locations, we then also lined up his direct mail to hit at the same time as the ad was hitting. When that was going, the online ads were also running to those people as well as informed delivery with USPS, which was pushing out a notification to them to say, hey, this mail's on your way. What we also did on his website and his direct mail piece is we put as seen on TV and put all the different television stations that he was across so that and put his photo so they could put 2 and 2 together and go, oh, did see that guy. In his first 2 weeks, he got more than 200 leads.
Wow.
So to say it was successful is an understatement. But I think the thing that Robin is, with full transparency, what Robin's going through now is quality versus quantity. A lot of those leads were people that had houses. So now he's putting in a strategy around, okay, well, what can I do with those leads? Can I sell them? Can I get the house under contract and on-sell that? This is the thing, though, right? There's deals everywhere. It's just a case of how we look at it. So yeah, depending upon what budget is, there's all types of marketing that people can do.
That's incredible. I love the idea of the amount of credibility that comes with that type of marketing campaign. I think anytime you see as seen on TV, there are actually a few generations that just, it's like immediate.
Yeah, it's like you must be someone, right? If you're on TV.
Exactly. That's incredible. Wow. So whenever you are dealing with sort of these virtual long distance type deals, obviously it sounds like most of your deals are that way because you're in Australia, you're doing deals in Florida. How do you manage your business operations and flows virtually? Because I think that's one of the most beautiful things about this business is that you can do that virtually. And so I'd love to hear you talk a little bit more about how you do that from across the world.
Yeah. You're going to be quite surprised by the answer. It's no different to how you run it. Because if you're in a different state doing business, it's the same as being in a different country. The only thing that sucks is the time zone. So we still have We have people calling us that go to my customer service team. I've got a customer service team based in the Philippines. They've been with us now for over 3 years. So they're long-term. They understand everything to do with our business. They take all of my seller calls and buyer calls, and they work US hours to be there for the majority of that. We've got a very dedicated CRM that helps us to manage our workflows, the automation tasks for our team to know what to do when deals are going through the pipelines. We've got people on the ground in the US that can help us. So a title company, real estate attorney, realtor, etc. So people on the ground. But to be honest, one of the silver linings over the last few years, Kendall, with this pandemic that we've all been a part of, is that so many people are getting more used to doing things online now. And the whole element of having a virtual business is nowhere near as daunting as what it used to be, because it's now quite accepted. So how we operate our business is really no different to how anybody else would do it. We're just in a different time zone.
I love that. So when you are in the process of building out your team and building out different processes, how do you go about choosing people virtually? How do you go about picking the right people to be on your team and managing those people virtually?
Yeah. First of all, picking the right people on your team. I'm probably a little more on the fussy side with that, because my background prior to doing this, I was in leadership consulting, and prior to that, human resources, recruitment. So for me, that whole people element is very big in our business. I have a very dedicated recruitment process for anyone that joins our team, where I obviously, whichever agency I'm going through, my last few recruits, they have not been through an agency. It's been through referrals from my existing team, because if they're a good team member and they know the standard that I'm looking for, refer me someone that's like you, is kind of where I went with the last few people. But the people that I've used an agency for in the Philippines, I've been very direct on here's what I'm looking for. I also do some personality profiling using DISC. I want them to be a specific type of work preference and how they approach their work. So I'm looking for some elements in there. I then do interview number 1, which is where I'm just doing a quick 15-minute check-in on their skills, their experience, their level of communication with English, written skills, things like that, and get a gut feel on, you either meet that criteria or you don't. Anybody that meets that goes to a second interview, and that second interview, we go into a lot more what I call behavioral style interviewing, which is not tell me what you would do, because I don't want to know what you would do. I want to know what you have done, because past behavior predicts future behavior. So in that, what have you have done, I go through things like, tell me when there's been a problem with a customer and how you've approached it. What did you do? Tell me about something that you were unsure of telling your boss about, but you had to tell them. What was it? What did you do? Tell me about how you handle, delighting your customers on a daily basis. Like, what do you do to really make sure that person gets off a call and they feel $1 million from talking to you? So I'm looking for those behavioral elements in what they do. Then if it's a role that they're also doing some pretty analytical stuff, I will set them a task to do. So it might be about running some comps for me, or it might be about, here's a property, go to the county site and get some analysis on it for me. I want to see what their level of thinking is and their attention to detail around those things. Final stage is, now that we've had our team up and running for quite some time, our final stage is I get my team to have a call with them and have my team ask them some questions without me about them, how they work, what their fit might be like, because they need to know that the person joining the team is going to be a good fit. It's good. They're going to work with the team really, really well. Because I've had some people over the years that weren't a great fit that I had to let go of. By the way, folks, anyone that's got a team member that isn't working out all that well, don't wait, because the damage that they can do whilst they're stuck there is far outweighs your ability to just pull the plug when you need to and say, you know what, I'm really sorry, but it ain't working. We're going to have to part ways. So that's the process we go through. Then to manage them, pretty easy. 2 things, systems first. So our CRM is set up so that I can report daily on all of their activity, their task flow, where our deals are at. Anything that's been escalated to me is allocated in our CRM. So with my land team, I have a 30-minute call every day with them where we're managing by exception, because I've trained them now to the point that they know what to do. All I need on that 30-minute call is the escalations that they need me to make some decisions on, or to keep me informed of a few things that I just need a progress update on. Other than that, I don't speak to sellers or buyers at all anymore. They do it all.
That's fantastic. And I'm assuming you do have like a training component for your team as well. Can you talk a little about
Very big training component. Yeah, very big. I mean, luckily, touch wood, we haven't had to replace anybody in a couple of years now. They're all with us long term. But when I do train, I do it through a number of levels, because the way that the adult brain works is we learn best by doing. If we're just listening, it's only a small part of our brain that lights up. So we learn best by doing. So when I'm doing training with my team, and even now, if we're implementing new processes or systems, this is how I run it. We get on a call, we record it. I take them through step by step exactly how to run this process or this system. Step 1, click here, do this. Step 2, go here, click here, do that. So we're recording it. Send them the recording. They then have to write up the SOP, so the standard operating process. They have to write that up, including things like screenshots and links, everything based upon the recording. Step 3, we get on a call together and they teach it back to me and they show me how they implement the SOP. And then we make any adjustments from there. The reason why that works so well, they have to go through it 3 times. So your brain starts to go clunk, clunk, clunk. Yep, I'm getting it. The other thing is, as a result of that, we've now got a standard SOP for that process. So if that person leaves and they come back, the video is recorded, the process is written, plug and play.
Absolutely beautiful. I love that. That systemization of actually recording is massive. It's huge. That way you don't have to continually do that, and you've got a record of that. And, I'm a visual person. I definitely learn by seeing things and then doing them. So it hits all of those learners. And of course, having them create that SOP, it's that double win of having them actually learn it. And then they are creating that SOP for your business that will outlast them, if they do leave. So that's brilliant. I love that. So what would you say to someone who is brand new and they've done a few deals and they say, okay, I'm ready to do this team thing and I'm ready to bring someone on. Where do they start? Who was your first hire? Where did they what are the things? What are the things?
Yeah. The very, very first thing, and we're very big on this in our team, is processes first, people second. And processes also include systems, right? So processes and systems first, people second. What I see too often in this business, Kendall, is people go, oh, I'm really busy, I need a VA. So they'll go and hire a VA, but all that they've done is create another job for themselves of managing the person.
Right.
And then they're just as busy and they wonder why they have to keep going back to things, right? So what we should be thinking, first of all, is for the tasks that we want done by somebody or something, what's the systems that I need to manage those tasks really, really well? Is it a CRM? Is there a different system in place that I need to explore? Is it a bolt onto my CRM that will manage something for me? What's the process of how I want my business to run? What does that look like? Because you've got to get that clear, first of all, because if you're not really clear on that, and I'm not saying you have to be clear on it for the next 10 years, but at least be clear on the next 6 to 12 months. What's the running of my business look like? Out of that, get a big piece of paper and draw it all out. Out of that, what's a process or a system? Then a person can run that. Or what can't be systematized or put a process around, for example, a conversation with a human that needs a person. From that, you can then define your ideal candidate that you'll need. And in your job description that you're advertising for, you can list in there, right? This person will need to be looking after these systems and processes. So therefore, I need them to be proficient in X, Y, and Z, or at least have an understanding of A, B, and C in order to run this stuff, right? So get that clear first. The worst thing you can do is just go and get a person to go and run stuff for you without thinking that, because if they make mistakes or they're not following a process or the system's not doing the grunt work for them, you're just going to end up in a world of, now I've got another problem to manage, right? So do that. then when it comes to looking for people, I guess it's first of all thinking about your budget. Like, how much do you want to spend on someone? Do you have enough for a full-time person, or could you offer part-time? If so, what does that look like? Where would you go and find them? So yes, a lot of people go to the Philippines, and there's some fantastic resources there that their English is amazing. But I've got customers in our marketing business that also have people from, the Caribbean that have awesome English, and they're about the same price as what someone in the Philippines is, but they also get the context of, what I would call US culture a little bit more as well. So resources are all around the place. You can go to a hiring firm to get them. You can go to hiremymum.com. Hire my mom. You guys say mom, we go mum. So hiremymum.com, which is in the US. They've got a lot of part-time mums that work from home that are amazing. You can go into Fiverr, Upwork. There's loads of places there. Fiverr and Upwork is where you'll probably find a lot of the people down in the Caribbean and surrounding areas. They're pretty active on there as well.
That's fantastic. I love the fact that you said processes first, people second, because I think so many people, like you said, just want an extra pair of hands to help. But that's really not the issue. The issue is that they don't have their processes and systems down. And so I know that a lot of people benefit out of just doing that first step of making sure that the process is outlined. They may not even need someone else at that point in time in their business.
Correct. If they systematize something. Or, there's so many services out there now, Kendall, that you can go and get a title report done by someone. You can get due diligence done by someone. You can go into We Go Look and have someone physically go out to the property and look at it for you. Like, you don't need a person full time, unless you're at that stage that you do. But there's loads of different things out there that you can just hire based on time basis when you need it. So think outside the square a little is what I would say.
I love that so much. And especially for brand new people that may be operating on a shoestring budget or trying to do this part-time. You don't have to strap yourself in. There are so many opportunities out there, great resources. So the thing that I would like to kind of shift gears a little bit about marketing. So sort of a similar question around brand new people in the space, but let's say someone is brand new to the space and they are ready to do marketing. What would you say to them? Where should they, invest their dollars? Where are they going to get the biggest, the biggest impact out of their dollars for brand new people to the industry?
Yep. Great question. First of all, it does depend on budget. And I think a lot of people expect that they can start this business with, no money down. It's like, well, you actually do need to have some money to get started in this. You need to have some money to set up your corporation, maybe buy a laptop if you haven't got one, have some memberships into different sites that you'll need, different subscriptions that you might need, and setting up the basic business like a website and some data and direct mail. Like, you do need a couple of $1,000s to get started in that space. Once you know what your budget is for marketing, and I'm going to rephrase that, once you know what your investment is for marketing, because marketing should be put $1 in, get X amount of dollars back. That's what marketing is, right? It's a lot of people look at it as a spend. It's not. It's an investment. You cannot have a business unless you're marketing in some way, shape, or form. And what your measurement of success should be is what your return on that investment is. So understanding that ratio as you grow, looking at your deal flow and what's your profit back, like what did you invest in and what did you get back? That should be some metrics first of all. But where they should start, depending on budget, if I had a very, very small budget, I would just start with getting some data and doing some direct mail and writing a very personal one-page direct mail piece out to people just to get the phone ringing. Now, that's in the current state of affairs with so many people out there doing this now, you're going to get a small response, which is fine. The thing that, if you had a bit more budget, the thing that I would do is make sure that your online presence matches what it is that you're sending offline being direct mail, because we know for a fact that people get those mail pieces and two things happen. The first thing that a seller thinks is, are you legit or are you a scam? Like, is this someone that's real? Are they actually going to buy my property? Are they actually going to help me? So therefore, they go online and check you out. Even the older generations, they will go online and check you out. And we know that because the websites that we build, we track visits to the site. We can see that people are going on there. We can see that they're clicking on the QR code from the letter. We can see all that. So we know for a fact that they're checking you out. So if you're doing direct mail and there's nowhere for them to go and find you, the likelihood is that you may lose some people because they don't see you as genuine. They don't see you as a real business if you're not online as well. So if you've got a small budget, to summarize, really, really small budget, get some data and direct mail happening. If your budget's a little bigger, do the data, the direct mail, and get an online presence. So when your audience goes to check you out, they can see that you're legit, they can see that you're human, and they've got a way to contact you and verify you.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that. Can you talk a little bit about how you market for buyers? So I think there's a lot of people talk a lot about marketing for sellers, and I feel like that marketing piece for buyers sometimes is not often talked about. So I'd love to.
I think that's a great question. What I will also say is we spend just as much on our disposition marketing as what we spend on our acquisitions marketing. And a lot of people don't think that they're like, I'll get a property under contract and then I'll just pop it on Facebook for free and find a buyer. Well, that might happen, but not in all cases, right? And Facebook is cracking down. I got kicked off Facebook Marketplace permanently about 2 years ago, and it was a good thing because I was like, okay, let's look at this for real. So you need to be able to pay for your disposition as well. Have a dedicated website where you can have as a holding place for your properties. Then syndicate that out to certainly Facebook Marketplace if you want to. Land.com, which syndicates to Land and Farm, Lands of America. If you can put it on MLS and partner with a realtor to get it on MLS, Zillow, Realtor.com, all of those sites as well. Get it out there as much as you can. We also are big on neighbor letters. We send out neighbor letters for all of our properties. We're this close, folks, we're this close. We've actually got a product called neighborletters.com that we're about to release, where people can do their neighbor letters in like 6 clicks and it's done.
Wow, that's awesome.
We were on a call with our development team last night. We've just got some final things before we launch that. So be on the lookout for that. So definitely neighbor letters. And the final thing is knowing who your buyers are in the area and marketing to them. So buyers being your builders, your developers, your land brokers that might be looking for deals. Going out and picking up the phone, speaking to those people. Hey, I can see that you're building in the area. Are you after vacant land? Doing that. So that's pretty much all the activities that we do on the disposition side, the sell side. And we do that for every deal. Lastly, though, is what I mentioned at the beginning of this call, and that is in some areas where we've got really good buyers lists, the very first thing we do is send out like a first look email to our buyers, giving them an exclusive access, if you like, to the property and saying, hey, we just got this new property. Before we put it out to the market, we're giving it to you, our buyers network first. And a lot of times we get rid of deals that way.
Yeah, that's invaluable. And of course, that comes from relationships. If you've been in an area, you've created relationships. I actually have a part of my buyers list that I call my VIP buyers that have already bought from me in that area. So I can just mark it out to them and say, hey, before I put this, I know that you have bought in this area. Would you be interested in taking a look at this? And
100%.
For sure. So can you talk a little bit about the tools that you like to use in your business? So you mentioned some resources like Fiverr and things like that, but what do you do for like CRMs and how do you run your comps and what are some of your favorite tools right now?
Yeah, great question. For our CRM, we use one called Fresh Sales. People may or may not have heard of it, but it's actually won CRM of the year many, many times over. But it's not a real estate CRM. Here's the thing. But we've been able to configure it to a way that it literally runs our business for us. And in that CRM, in the entire CRM itself, you've got your SMS system, call system, email system, pipeline management, all of your contacts, marketing system, because you can do like branded things that you can send out from it. It is literally everything in one, which is why we went with it. And also the capacity of this system, because we've got almost millions of pieces of data in ours now, hundreds of thousands of properties in there. It never slows down. It's its capability is huge. So we use fresh sales, and that is pivotal to our business very much. Outside of that, obviously supercharged offers, we use our own marketing product to get our deals. So everything that we use there, from the data to the direct mail, that's all sort of, if you like, in-house for us, because we use our team for that. Outside of that, there's a really good tool that I love for Florida called MapWise. It's a paid subscription, but they've got some great resources on there that aggregate every county into one portal that you can check all the properties. For comps, we actually run comps internally in our team. We've trained up our team to do those for us really, really well. I've got a comps template that I'm more than happy to share with anyone that's very detailed, that goes into capturing all the info, and then it aggregates out the averages and different things on it. And where my team does the comps, Zillow, MapWise, Realtor.com, Redfin, the usual places like we're looking for. Outside of that, there's actually not a huge amount of systems and processes that we use, because we've kind of brought a lot of things in-house, which has enabled us to be a bit more efficient with things as well. I'm trying to think if there's any other major systems. Even for our supercharged offers team, like where we found our resources initially was on Fiverr, but they're now part of our team. They've been with us for 5 years. So they were with us before we even started supercharged offers. So, but I do use Fiverr every now and then if I need some basic things done and I just need a resource for. Fiverr's been great. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's incredible. I mean, it sounds like that CRM is kind of like a one-stop shop and does a ton of things for you already. So
it's great. We've actually implemented it for quite a few real estate investors now that are just like, oh my goodness, this thing does it all. Like, yeah, it does, but it takes a lot to configure it. So it's not for the faint-hearted, but it is amazing.
That's incredible. I will definitely be picking your brain about that after this call, because I'm definitely interested. So I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about you in terms of, what would you say your superpower is?
My superpower is I'm a connector. I love making relationships with people and connecting people. I've enabled people to do deals because I know what my customers are doing. And I'm like, hey, you should talk to so-and-so, and I'll hook them up and be like, you guys need to do a deal together. Brad's nodding because I send people to him all the time. And I think my superpower is I'm a networker and I'm a connector.
That's amazing. And are there any specific business owners or entrepreneurs that you like to follow in terms of sort of like their teachings or anything like that?
Yeah, look, there is. There's quite a few, but a few for various reasons. I'm a big follower of Brené Brown because I love her approach to leadership and just being human. I think, one of the things in business is don't lose who you are and be authentic. That for me is really, really important. I've been a fan for many years of Tony Robbins, and I've done all of his programs, which have been really great from that mindset perspective and understanding your values and how to live them and things like that, which is great. Outside of that, there's some marketing people that we follow, and his name escapes me, but his book is on my bookshelf here behind me. I'll come back to it. It'll come back to me soon.
Yes, it'll pop in there. Nice. Yeah, I love that. And like you said, I think just the way that you answered that.
Alex Hormozy. There we go. Sorry, it popped into my head.
As a matter of fact, I was just talking about Alex Hormozy because I keep this on my desk.
Yes,
it's fantastic.
We love Alex Hormozy. He's got some fantastic stuff out there. I'm also, and going back to my original days, and I know him personally, Seth Williams from Ari Tipster. Seth is great. I've been following Seth for years, and I love how giving he is of information and sharing and stuff as well. So yeah, a few others, but yeah, they're probably the main ones. Yeah.
That, and again, like just looking at the work that those people do in the mindset space is so critical, right? Like it's not just the nuts and bolts of business, it's the mindset that's so important. So what is the biggest surprise that you have had so far in your journey in land?
The biggest surprise. That's a great question, Kendall. I'm probably going to give two answers here. My first one's more of a generic answer, and that is that this is easier to do than what I thought it was going to be. I think a lot of people go into this going, I don't have a real estate background, and a lot of us don't. And it's like, oh, can I do this? And my biggest surprise was, yeah, I can. Like, I hear myself talking about land now, and do this. I really encourage you all to do this every now and then. Just stop and listen to yourselves and just recognize how far you've come from learning nothing over here to where you are now. Like, I hear myself talking about zoning and comps and a whole range of different things, and looking at title reports and easements and understanding how surveys work now. I see myself and I'm like, wow, I never knew that stuff. But just by doing, you get there. So probably that's my first one. The second one is, I'm constantly surprised by buyers and what they want to do with properties, because, I know a lot of people that will look at a deal and go, oh, I'm not going to do that deal because no one will want it. And I'm like, well, how do you know unless you put it out to the market? We've sold properties that I was like, no one's going to want that or want to do anything with it. And they do. I remember selling two in particular. One was, it was just outside of Orlando, so about 10 miles out of Orlando. And it was a couple of acres that was zoned agricultural, but you could put like a barn or a warehouse and stuff on it as well. And a guy bought it to erect a huge warehouse to put his 12 cars in, because his wife was about to divorce him if he kept his cars at home anymore. So, okay. Another one I sold that was quite a decent slope in more of a rural area, and a guy bought it to build his own personal mountain bike track. Okay. So, don't ever, I did say for marriage, Brad, don't ever underestimate what your seller's imaginations can do, because you are not your end buyer.
Oh, that's so good. That is so good. I think it's easy to think about that when you are coming from the single family space, because I'm sure we've all come across houses that we've done deals on that we think, oh my God, I can't imagine, I would never live here. Right. And then you realize, okay, but you are not the end buyer. So apply that to land as well. You may not want that desert square, but mountain bike guy may definitely want that. So that's really fantastic advice. So if you could go back and tell yourself 3 pieces of information when you were brand new to the land space, what would you say?
Oh, you're asking the tough ones now. 3 pieces of information. If I could go back and tell myself, I'd probably say, don't be scared, feel the fear and do it anyway, which I kind of did. But there was a number of days that I would put off things because I was like, I don't know how to have that conversation with the seller yet, or the buyer, or because to start with, I was the one on the phone to sellers and buyers. Or I'd put off advertising a property because I wasn't sure about it. So I'd be like, feel the fear and do it anyway, because everything has a way of working out. And if it doesn't work out, you can always get out. So that's not so bad. I'd probably, I'm struggling to answer this one, Kendall, because I'm also the kind of person that I do kind of make decisions and get on with it. I'm a bit of a doer, if that's that's the case. My other thing I probably would have said early on, it comes back to Brad's comment that he put earlier on as well, is find your tribe. I've very early on, and for the first 12 months, we were kind of just doing this all by ourselves, and just, I think also 6 years ago, there probably wasn't the land groups online that there is now. In active communities around vacant land. So it'd probably be more about find your tribe and link arms with people and do more deals together and learn from one another in that space as well. I would have done that sooner, but I was just a little bit unsure of myself. Yeah.
Yeah, that's remarkably important. I remember, kind of speaking to that, the very first time that I actually joined a mastermind, and I heard people talking about they were doing the things that I wanted to do. There was just some type of magic that happened where I said all of a sudden, like, oh, that is possible. Like, it's possible that it's actually happening in the real world. I can do it too. And so I think finding your tribe is so important. I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
So next question I have for you is, what is your biggest passion or goal that you would like to achieve at this point in your life?
Oh, biggest passion or goal. I'm very passionate about giving back. And so my biggest goal now is to get to the stage in our business that I can start to support and find time to work in some things that I'm passionate about with charities and not-for-profits. I do believe that what goes around comes around. When you put good out into the world, good comes back to you as well. So it's that. But then outside of that, that's one that's sort of more values-based. But the other thing that I'm passionate about is really growing supercharged offers, because we've seen the impact that it can have on so many real estate investors to help get their businesses running and consistent and successful. We want to grow that exponentially. We've got some big goals for that for this year. We're in the process of potentially writing a book about it as well and relaunching some extra products. So my big goal behind all of that is I want to make two things. I want to make the success rate of students in the real estate investing space much bigger. At the moment, the success rate of people doing a course or getting coaching and actually making it is like, 5% and under. It's not good. So I'm on a bit of a mission, and I'm working with people like, obviously, Tim, who we met through as well. I think we might have met. Did we meet through Tim?
Yeah, I think we met through
Tim. So working with people like him to really expand the opportunity for people to get into real estate investing, but have the tools and processes to do it with ease. That's part of our mission with Supercharged Offers too, is to make that accessible and make it something that people can do.
I love that. I love that so much. And for those of you who are not familiar, Tim Mai has a hero brand where it's about heart-centered education, real estate education. And so we really have bonded over that. And Alicia, it sounds like we share in that as well. I think there's just nothing more inspirational or incredible to witness than the empowerment of someone else whenever they achieve that goal and they start their business and they start seeing like, oh, wow, like I can do these huge things, right?
100%.
It's really
100%. I literally got off a call before I joined this call. I was with one of my customers who's actually doing land deals in Alaska, and she's 3 weeks into these land deals, and she's like, I've got 75 offers in my pipeline that I need to get out, and I've already got 4 properties under contract. And I'm like, yes.
Yes.
So, when you can see somebody else being successful and really putting things into action, oh my goodness, it makes me smile all day long.
Incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I love that. In Alaska. So, wow. So I just want to, before we go to our question and answer period with everyone, I want to thank you so much for joining us today and for giving so much today. And I would like to ask, how can we give back to you? What resources or connections can we help you with that you're looking for right now?
Yeah, I guess if I come back to my mission that I said before, I'm just looking to help more real estate investors do what they do and do it with ease. So if anybody, how you can help me is come to me and tell me what I can help you with. And I know that's kind of pushing it back to you guys, but we've really proven, I think, with our marketing business and Supercharged Offers that we are getting people better at their businesses. And so, yeah, if anybody wants to meet with me, that's how you can give back. Let me help you.
I love that. I love that so much. So I just want to thank Alicia again. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You've just given us so much value on this call. And so I just want to thank you again. Thank you for sharing your time and your experience with us this evening.
Absolutely welcome, Kendall. Thank you for having me on. And thanks everyone for the great questions.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Please look at our group, www.onlylandfans.com. We'd like to continue the conversation there. We'd also like to connect with you and just have a great sort of mastermind tribe, if you will. And so we're so looking forward to continuing to help you to grow in your land journey. And we look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same date. Thursday at 6 p.m. CST, we will have another fantastic interview. So thanks, everyone. Have a great week and looking forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.
If If you're interested in hearing from other seven-figure land flippers about how they've started and run their businesses, then join us at OnlyLandFans.com. Looking forward to seeing you there.